welcome to Up the Cherries and All Department for this reaction show about Gareth Southgate's provisional squad.
Yeah, looking forward to this. Me personally, I think that if we get this right, we could bring this trophy home this year. I really do think it's fast approaching when we're going to actually bring a trophy home, I think.
Yeah, excellent. I really do hope so, because obviously we've been too close before, haven't we? With the last Euros being in the final, and yeah, let's hope you're right. Definitely. Just got to say though, while you're here, it is an actual honour to have you on, because as a kid growing up watching Bournemouth, I missed your time at Bournemouth. I started going, I think it was September 1990. I think my first game was as a little 4-year-old, and growing up watching Bournemouth. The things my dad used to say, he used to say, it's all right watching these kind of players. He said, but there's two players you never saw in a Bournemouth shirt. And he said, that's Ted McDougall and Luther Blissett. So to have you on here tonight
is good company.
Yeah, it's an absolute honour to have you on. So, but yeah, if you're ready, let's get cracking and have a look at Southgate's squad. But first, if we can just touch on the guys that are going to be missing. So obviously Marcus Rashford, who on his day I think is an awesome player, but as
absolutely, yeah. I mean, the thing with Marcus Rashford, he can play out wide and he can play the centre forward role. So he's a loss, let's say, in two departments for England, which I think is a bit of a shame. And we know he can, turn up every now and then with one of those free kicks, can pull you out of a hole like he did against Wales. So yeah, I mean, he'll be a big loss, but his form hasn't been great this last season. He's had a difficult season, and I can fully understand why he's not gone. And I'm sure he'll be disappointed, but he'll understand the reason why he didn't go. And there are players ahead of him that have been performing, and he'd be. I think wouldn't be cool with it, but he'll understand that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And Jordan Henderson. I think the biggest reason why I think he probably is not included is he's not really fit yet, is he? He's not really had the intensity of a few games to get himself back to the level where he needs to be. But a big loss, because the one thing you always want in a dressing room is somebody like Jordan Henderson. Me originally, when he first went to Liverpool, wasn't a big fan, because I thought, why have they spent that sort of money on Jordan Henderson? But it very soon became apparent why. And I could completely understand why he's been in all the England squad since. His contribution has been phenomenal, and as a professional, he's been outstanding. So yeah, I think had he been fit, he'd have probably been in this provisional squad and been pushing for a place, because he gives you that holding midfield player of Declan Rice. You go down with Declan Rice with an injury, he's the ideal replacement. He's straight into that position. So for me, he could be a bigger loss than even a Marcus Rashford if we do end up losing somebody like Declan Rice.
Yeah, definitely. Dyer as well was kind of rumoured to maybe going into the provisional squad, because the defence there's quite a lot of injuries within our defence, and he's had a pretty good season at Munich from what I've seen. So that could be that's a bit of a surprise to me, especially with the injuries we've got.
Yeah, but I think, experience-wise, maybe I think we lose out there with Dyer. But you look at I think we've got some quality still left in the team anyway, and good replacements for moving players about, because you've got pace, you've got players with a bit of experience, and you've got one or two young uns that will come in, and as long as the team's performing, they will add to what you already have. So for me, this is the one place in that England team, that one area that I've been for the last probably 5 or more years, been thinking this is where we've got an issue in having a defence that you can rely on. Because one of the things as a coach or a manager or whatever you look at, you think, can I trust this player in this position? And I think that's the thing. I think a lot of us as England supporters now look at them and say, can we trust, whether it's a back four or a back three, can we trust individuals within that to give us the best chance of winning a game?
Yeah, definitely. While we're on the subject of players that have missed out, this man, from obviously Bournemouth's perspective, he's had a fantastic season this year. Obviously, 19 Premier League goals, and I know I've probably been a little bit biased here, being a Bournemouth fan myself, but I mean, I'm gutted for the lad, really.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is with this England squad at the moment, there were so many players pushing for a position within that squad. And unfortunately, he's missed out. And it is unfortunate because when you play for one of the less fancy teams and you score that number of goals in the Premier League and drag your team from a position where everybody's thinking they're going to get relegated into a position where, you know, they've been safe and in such a strong position for especially the second half of the season, he's got to be thinking, if only I played for somebody else who's probably going through it, you know, I might have had a chance to be in that group. So it is disappointing for him. It's disappointing for Bournemouth not to have a representative like that within the England squad. And, you know, but he's up against, look at Tony, he's up against Watkins in there and Kane. So, you know, for the number 9 slot, that is a very tough one because they only ever use one. And so they're looking for one other perhaps to be in there. So it's a very, very tough ask. And he's behind those other players who've played and have shown what they're able to do. So, you know, down the pecking order, like you would be at the club, you know, you have to wait your turn and your opportunity when you can get in there and say, this is why I should be here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I totally understand that, to be fair. If we have a look quickly then with the goalkeepers to start with, obviously there's a name that's guaranteed to start there, obviously, in Jordan Pickford.
Yeah.
Aaron Ramsdale, obviously, there's the argument that he hasn't had a lot of game time at Arsenal this season. But again, I'm not surprised he's in there. But Dean Henderson and James Trafford, would you select one of them two, or would you maybe have gone with someone that's been in the sort of international wilderness for a little while, like Jack Butland, who's had a good season at Rangers, or would you have gone with the likes of Henderson?
I think your goalkeeping one, you've got your reliable, you know, as he can be, and he does occasionally make rickets as players do. And then he's probably not a favourite of everybody, but I've always thought he performs at a level. If he keeps his concentration, he is our best goalkeeper if he's doing that for me, and he is the number 1 goalkeeper if he's doing that. So it's just a case of who you need the backup, and you hope you don't ever need the backup.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a choice between Ramsdale and Henderson, which you're going to go for, you know, and it's a difficult one in either of them, which one are going to be left out of it, to be quite honest. It's going to be a tough one for either of those to be left out of it. Trafford, I wouldn't at this stage be thinking too much about him, but with Henderson being about as long as he has now and been talked about in the way that he has been for a few years, you would think really it's between him and Ramsdale for me. And which one I would choose? I'll probably go with Henderson.
Yeah,
I'll probably go with Henderson, just on the fact that Ramsdale hasn't played many games.
Yeah,
as such, and you know that would give Henderson the edge for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's I mean, for me, James Trafford is a name I think we're going to see a lot of in the future, but
yes,
it's definitely a tournament probably too short for him. But yeah, no, I totally agree with your points there. But we have a look at the defence then, which is going to
which is England's problem area for a good few years now.
Yeah, so he's got injuries as well, hasn't he? I mean, Harry Maguire, he's been ruled out of the FA Cup final. So he's not going to really have had much game time.
But the thing, I mean, what I'd say about Maguire, when he's been out of sorts with Manchester United most of this early on in the season, and nobody thought he was going to get a game. And I think even the season before, towards the end of the season before, and you know, he was thrown in, and nobody thought, why is he playing? And you can see the reason why he's playing in the team. On his day, when he's playing well, it gives you a level of performance that you can rely on. Yes, there's an odd mistake, error will be in there, but I think that goes for most people. If the defence itself is playing well, then you don't see that for me. So Maguire, I think a fit Maguire is somebody. Yes, I would put him in. I mean, the 4 of them there that I can see on there, I would have them in the squad. No problem at all.
Yeah,
for Maguire, I would say yes. If he can get over the injury and can get him to a level of fitness that he can play, fine. I don't see an issue with him there at all. Stones, there's your replacement as a maybe defending midfield player if you happen to lose Rice in a game or whatever. I think Stones has proven to be well capable of doing that job, and he's a natural defender. when he plays there. So you'll understand how to do that defensive role in there. And, he showed he's not bad on the ball as well. So I think I definitely agree with that. Walker goes without saying. That pace, very few people will give him an issue with that. I mean, the way he kept Mbappe quiet in the World Cup for all that time was spectacular for me. And I think he's one you really don't want to lose at this moment in time, because you've got nobody else in the back of the team like him with that pace and be able to do the things that he does. And Trippier, experience. He's a good dead ball specialist for England as well. And as long as he's fit, he's another one that can deliver for us. And you trust that back line, you would trust. If they would be the back four at the back, you could trust that back line for me.
Yeah, and definitely with I think Luke Shaw struggling with fitness, it is rumoured that Trippier would be playing left back as well. So yeah, I totally agree with you there. If we have a look at some of the others that he's selected, obviously he's put Luke Shaw in, who's struggled this season with injuries.
Branthwaite for me, I think, and seeing him in that game against Liverpool game, he played well in that. Looked very, very aggressive, on the stanza position, and wants to get stuck in. And maybe international football, we might need to be, rail that in a little bit rather than going flying in because you get booked and stuff like that. So, but again, this might be a tournament too soon for him. But you never know. Some players, when they get thrown in, they just grow and show you what they're all about. So he could be one of those. Lewis Dunk, I think, as a Premier League defender, I'm a fan. In the game against was it Wembley, watching him against, was it Brazil? I think it was, and he was at fault for the goal, wasn't he? And I thought, and you see those little signs in there. So I think the jury's out for me on him with some of the others that we have. But sure, I'd say if he's fit, he's in. Branthwaite could be a tournament too soon. Joe Gomez, I've got no issue with. He can play at centre half, he can play at fullback, and he can play fullback on either side for you.
Yeah.
So I think that he's one of those players that, as a utility man at the back, he'd do a good job for England in any given situation. So yeah, for me that would be fine. So it's just really Branthwaite and Dunk. I'm not convinced yet about him, although I am a big fan of his in the Premier League.
Yeah, okay. There's a couple of surprises as well that he's called up. Well, I say surprises. Like Konza, for example, he's had a great season at Villa.
He has, but again, he's got that pace, isn't he? He's got that pace, which is so important when you get to international level, to be able to deal with some of the strikers and midfield players coming through that you're up against. So that's in his favour. Kwanzaa, I think, is definitely too early for him. For this. I mean, how many games has he played for Liverpool now? A handful.
Is he at 20 games yet? I'm not sure. I don't think so.
I'm not sure if he is.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But, maybe a bit short for him. Maybe.
Weren't we spoken about? Have we mentioned all of them yet?
Mark.
No, I like him. And I mean, I think he's one. Again, he's got pace, and I think he reads the game very well. 1v1, I think he's good at that, and that could definitely be a plus. So I mean, I think him as a good backup or even a starter if need be, because he can play fullback as well.
Right, okay.
Play fullback, and he can cover. You'll be able to play that left-hand side, left back position if we are struggling on there. I think so. For me, yes, Mark is in. Konza, depending on what else we're looking at. Again, you've got pace, and that game against Arsenal where he played ever so well in that game. He was so good in that game. I thought, wow, for that level right the way through the 90 minutes, I thought he was fantastic that day.
Yeah, no, I've been well impressed with him this season. But yeah, we'll have a look as we come to the end. We'll come back through and see maybe who we think won't make the grade in each position. But for now, if we move on to a strong, I would say it's pretty strong for England. Obviously, I think we've probably got one of the best if not the best midfielder in the world at the moment, in Jude Bellingham. I think
Goodness me.
we're strong here, aren't we? In this,
I think we're extremely strong in this position. And again, I'll go straight to the start with Trent. Again, I think as a defensive midfield player,
yeah,
he can do that role for you because he's got the range of passing, and having played as a fullback, I think he would have the discipline if he's asked to do a particular role, just to sit in there and just spray the passes and pick people up as he does. Rice is a very difficult player to replace in that position. He's been brilliant for Arsenal. A lot of Arsenal fans will say, "Well, we're paying all that money for him," but half a dozen games into the season, they're going, "Okay, we see why." It really was one of those for him. So, I think Trent. I've always thought more of a midfield player than a fullback, so he could possibly be the one again that could deputise in that position if need be in a game. The boy, he's only 20, isn't he now, Wharton?
Yeah, I believe he actually started the season at Blackburn, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he arrived in the transfer window in the turn of the year. Is when he arrived, and
right.
he has been a revelation since he's been in. Loves a tackle.
Yes.
He used to play the number 10 role at Blackburn, so he understands that role. And I think the fact that he understands that 10 role, if he was to play the defensive one, because he's been an aggressive and loves a tackle, he can probably do that role as well in midfield for you. So he's a candidate, I think, just maybe for that reason, he might be one that you add to that midfield to make that. Bellingham, we don't have to talk about Bellingham. Let's be quite honest. You don't have to talk about Bellingham. He is probably the best midfield player in the world at this moment in time.
Yeah,
so I don't need to worry about him because he is fantastic, to be fair.
Yeah.
So Rice, we've gone on about Rice and we know everything that he brings, and he, with Henderson not there, I think this is a younger version of Henderson with more to his game than what Hendo had, and got the other side of it where he's good for the dressing room, and I think he's good for the boys around him.
Yeah, no, definitely. If we also have a look at the other ones in the squad, again, a surprise for me, Curtis Jones, I think, was a bit of a surprise, but
yeah, I think he's put him in as a reward for the way he's come on over the last couple of seasons, I think. And there's a chance to bring him in and he'll be part of this squad, and he will now know that. I don't think he'll go. I don't think he'll take him, to be fair. I don't think he'll take him. But the other two will definitely go. I think Manu, my God, again, a little bit looking at Bellingham, the age he is, and he looks so comfortable and composed and always meant to be there. I just think him amazing. And Conor Gallagher, for me, especially when he was at Palace, when he went to Palace and was there, I thought this boy could really come on and be something. And he's captain of Chelsea, wasn't he, this last season?
Yeah.
And I think he's done a decent job. I think for him, to become a permanent part of the England squad, I think it's good. And he adds something a little bit different. I mean, he will get stuck in, but he's also got those legs to get forward as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think we're blessed with the midfield. I mean, whoever he decides, and I think you're probably right. Curtis Jones, I think will miss out. But again, another area where we're pretty blessed. The forward line. Obviously, Kane. We know all about Kane, but for you, Ollie Watkins, for example.
Yeah, I think the Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney thing to play. They're both number 9s. They can both play the number 9 position. Yeah. I think Toney is more like a Kane, the way he plays it, and yet he can do the runs as well. But Ollie Watkins wants to run in behind the opposition, but is very happy to run the channels and work people and get in behind all the time. And that is something we haven't seen in an England number 9 probably since like an Alan Shearer that's willing to do that. So I think that for me could be the one thing that swings it in Ollie Watkins' favour if it was a straight shout between him and Toney. I think.
Yeah, interesting.
Because when you've got two players that are almost the same in the way they play, leads the line.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you've got somebody that suddenly will break the back line of the opposition, that gives you another string to your bow, because your runners then can, other people can make other runs and cause the opposition more problems. Kane, obviously, you want Kane fit, because seeing what he's added to his game since he's been in Germany, phenomenal. And even, German players, I think, are looking at him and thinking, they thought all he was a goal scorer, but they realise he's far more than that, and what he brings to the team, the way he works hard, the quality of what he does, and a lot of the unselfish stuff that he does as well. So I think Kane's phenomenal, I think, for England. Bowen, as a substitute to come on, fantastic. He's got that pace and directness and knows where the goal is. So I think he could possibly be. I think he will go. I'm not, but I don't think he'll take Tony and Watkins.
Interesting.
I don't think he'll take two, because 3 out-and-out strikers in this tournament, I'm not sure if we can accommodate that really in the squad.
Okay.
I mean, I'd love it, because I think, if you've got people that score goals and you can just rotate them if something's not working and bring something a little bit different, it's a good one. But I'm just a bit skeptical if people actually do that.
Yeah. I mean, what about from a penalty shootout point of view? Obviously, Tony's known for scoring penalties.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal what he does. I watch it time and time again and says, how does he do that? Just looks at the goalkeeper, doesn't look at the ball, and then at the last minute he just rolls the ball into the back of the net. Astonishing, really is. But are you going to bring a player on only to do a penalty shootout? Are you going to have that player only for a penalty shootout when all the other things that Watkins brings you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
true. There's obviously the likes of these lads here. Obviously, Phil Foden, Premier League Player of the Year.
Shoo-in, isn't he? He's a shoo-in. I think Palmer's a shoo-in. Grealish is a shoo-in. Gordon, is the tournament for him, or is he maybe for the next tournament? I don't know.
He's had a good season, hasn't he, Gordon?
He has. There's a good season, and then there's an outstanding season. You look at not so much Grealish, because you know what Grealish will do for you in games. He'll retain the ball for you, and that's, what Palmer, and Palmer could be an exceptional talent, and added to that midfield. You're talking sort of, remember that French midfield of back in the 80s into the 90s sort of thing, what that midfield was like. And sometimes you see what the Brazilian midfield players are like, what we've seen in Argentinian midfield players, or even if you go Belgian midfield players. We are approaching, if not already there, of players of that sort of caliber that can turn games and win your games. And I just think, as you said earlier on, this is our strongest area on the pitch, is definitely the midfield area for me.
Yeah.
So the choices in here are going to be absolutely crucial, because these players have to be able to work together and understand each other. And in that last game, when Bellingham scored the equaliser right at the death, when Maddison spotted him, and just that pass was fantastic, and he just buried it, and you thought, yes, this is definitely a good place to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Couple left. Saka. I love Saka. I think
shoo-in.
Shoo-in.
He's a shoo-in. I think Maddison as well. I think Maddison is an intelligent midfield player. He's an intelligent player there, and the things that he sees and the passes he can make, I think, are quite can open defences up. And I think he will link with the likes of Bellingham and Cole in that midfield. Cole Palmer in midfield, and it could be very good for us. That Eze, unbelievable talent. Again, maybe he's one of those you put him on in a game to change it, because he's a different player to what Saka is. He'll go through the middle. He'll run and attack people through the middle as well as down the sides, and he's full of surprises. But I think between the three of them, there are 3 players there that I think probably should go.
Definitely. Okay. So if we can go back through now and maybe have a look at who we think won't go in each position. Should we?
Yeah.
It might be a good idea if we start again with the goalkeepers and then work through
Yeah.
the defence and maybe see if we can whittle it down to a 26-man squad. So in terms of goalkeepers, then
Pickford and Henderson.
Yeah,
they're my two.
Okay, and if we were to take a third, Ramsdale.
I think so, yes, because as you said, Trafford is, World Cup will be the one where you'd hope to see him really push into and be part of that squad in the World Cup qualifying. You'd hope he'd be able to push into that squad then.
Yeah, definitely. So these four we've said definitely a dead cert. So Gomez definitely for me.
Luke Shaw, if fit.
Yeah. So it's between Gerrard, Lewis Dunk, Konza. Do we get? I mean,
it's hard, isn't it?
It's
Again,
hard.
It depends. I mean, what I made a little note here and a few notes here on mine, and I've got Mark in mine. I've got Konza. I put Konza in this midfield. I put him in there. Defense, midfield. I put Konza in. Let me just Konza in as a defender. I put him in. Sorry. Yeah, so Konza's in. And I've got it here exactly like I said to you there. I've Lewis Dunk and Branthwaite and Kwanzaa. They're the three that I've not committed on yet.
Right, so take us down to 30. So okay. So we reckon those three won't go, and Trafford.
Yeah, it will be and Trafford. So that would be if you say those three for now, and the goalkeeper. So that's four players we've removed already.
Okay, so that leaves another two to take out.
Yeah.
So, is it someone from the midfield or is it someone from?
Well, I mean, we said in the midfield, didn't I? We said that Curtis Jones probably won't go.
Right. Okay. So that's
if we take Curtis Jones out.
Okay. And then.
So that gives us what? That leaves one more.
So
one more, and is that one more? Is that one more going to be one from the front, or two from the front?
Yeah.
Or we lose another midfield player. Because I think actually he will take another defender. I believe he'll probably take Lewis Dunk for his experience.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so I think if you put Lewis Dunk in, so that gives us 1, 2, 3. If we put the goalkeeper, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with Dunk so far.
Okay. So do you reckon he'd take a Tony? Do you reckon Tony, or is he just going to go with Watkins? I mean,
that for me is the big one. Does he go and have another striker in there? Or what I mean, the boy Adam Wharton. I think he might miss out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think he might miss out. So we'll put a line through him at the moment. So Branthwaite is out as well, and Trafford. Yeah, so that's Trafford. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5.
Curtis Jones.
We haven't got to the front yet.
The front. So would it be for the front then? Do you know what? I think he might leave Anthony Gordon behind.
Are you thinking that? Well, I thought about that when we had his picture up, and I thought, is this another one of those that it's come around? It's probably too early for him with other people that are about at this moment in time.
Yeah.
I've sort of made it between him and Grealish, and he'll take Grealish. If you put it in that sense, Grealish will go.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's hard. I mean,
It is hard, but you you look at players there in that group that can play more than one position. Because Bowen are not getting ahead of Saka.
Yeah.
Not Grattan.
Mm-hmm.
And who else have we got in there? It's a difficult one because also Foden can play that role as well.
Yeah.
If need be. Or Foden can play on the other side, coming in on his right, on his coming in from the left, and use that left peg as he coming with that pass in that he's got. So I think it's a very difficult one. It's not going to be easier. But if we've got to make a decision, and I think we need to do that, I would say if we're going to drop one out of the front line, because I can't see him taking all those strikers, those attacking players. Can't see it.
No.
I can't see him doing that. So he's gonna drop one, and Eze, will he leave Eze out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you look at players that can play there, Palmer can play there, Bowen can play there, you've got Foden can play there, Grealish can play there. There's a lot of candidates that can cover in the wide areas, aren't there?
Yeah, there is, and obviously he's not the most experienced at international level as yet, is he?
But the thing about that is, you put somebody like that on with the ability that he has, he could suddenly just go by a couple of players and win you a game or create the path for you to win that game.
Yeah, that's tricky.
I think it really boils down to do you bring a player just because if you think in a penalty shootout he could win you that in a penalty shootout.
So Tony. So are we edging towards Tony?
I think we are.
Yeah.
I think Eze will miss out and he'll give it to Tony. So he'll go against everything that I've just said and go with 3 out and out strikers.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna settle on Eze, are we?
Yeah, Eze's the sixth man to miss out.
Sixth man to miss out. So that means we've got Trafford from the keepers.
Yeah. Branthwaite, Kwanzaa.
And who else? Yeah. And then
we've got Curtis and Wharton.
Yep.
And Gordon, really, it's Gordon. I mean, we've included Gordon here, or is he going to leave Gordon out and use Eze? See, but we've at the moment we've got Eze's out, and he makes the 6. He completes the 6 once we do that.
Okay. Yeah,
it's 7, isn't it? It's 7 he's got to miss.
Is it 7?
It's 7. It's 26, 7. Isn't it? It's 7. We've got to remove one more.
Okay, so that's got to be another forward, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's where we could lose Gordon as well.
Gordon,
he was the one we're talking about, and so Gordon would be the one.
Gordon, Eze.
Gordon.
Yeah, I think you're probably right with that. Yeah. So that's how we whittle it down then from the 33 to the 26. So just before we wrap up, Luther, the chances for England at this tournament, I mean, what do you think?
I think if England perform to the level that I've seen them do, and when I saw them in the Brazil game and again in the Belgian game, you think they can live with this opposition. They can do that, and that's why I think this tournament is the one they could just win. It's not going to be easy, and they need to be capable, like the best teams, to be able to score goals from literally all of the positions on the pitch. But I think the ability is within that group of players to do that when they cross that line. And I think if they start well and the confidence grows into defence, whether we play the three at the back or whatever we play, I think England could be a force to reckon with in this, because we've got the ability to unlock the opposition with our forward play. And if we keep it compact out of possession, we can make life difficult for everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. England aside, who do you think is going to be England's toughest challenge if we face them during the knockout stages? We should get through the group stage, shouldn't we? I know we shouldn't really talk on paper. We should get through the group stage because obviously the game's not played on paper, but we should get to the knockout stage.
Yes.
If we get there, who? I know we shouldn't say who don't we want to face, because if we're going to win it, we need to beat the best. But
we need to be the best. I think the biggest thing for me is England need to get to the semi-final. England get to the semi-final, and I don't care who they play when they get to the semi-final. I believe they can win it, because I think add things in the World Cup. If that referee had done his job properly and protected Saka and protected England that way, if he had done his job properly, England would probably have won that game. And they would probably have had more than the 2 penalties they had, because they should have had another 2 penalties for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So the French team were beatable that day by England, and the fact that the referee didn't punish them like they should, because who was it should have been sent off? I'm trying to think, trying to rack your brains back to the incident and look at it all again.
Yeah,
they should have had a man off for the way he went on. So I think it could have been very different. And I think that's why I have no fear about who England will play, as long as they go out and they play to the ability of what they possess within that squad of players.
Yeah, no, definitely. So that's been a great insight, Luther, into who you think, obviously won't make the final 26. Obviously how you feel England are going to do. Where are you going to be watching it from this year?
Probably feet up watching it. Now a couple of places actually. We've got a place in Watford that we do a lot of our charitable stuff we do down there. It's called Sun Sports, and we'll probably watch a number of the games down there and invite get a few people down there to enjoy it, especially the sunshine, and kids can run about outside in the meantime as well as watch the game as well. So yeah, we'll try and make a bit of a venue for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, it's always great looking forward to a tournament, especially after obviously the season's finished. And let's hope England go out there and do well.
Absolutely. Forgotten about the season already. It's done now. Forgotten about it. Finished. Done. Still looking forward.
Yeah, start
final
looking forward.
Saturday. Then all the European Champions League, Euros, get them out of the way. Then we start the Euros proper. And before you know it, the boys will be back training, and we'll be out there in the cold shouting them on again.
Yeah, well, woolly hats on and gloves and all that.
Yeah. Well, not quite so much down there in Bournemouth, but the rest of us where we are, it will be.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks, Luther. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and hopefully we can welcome you back on at some point soon.
By all means.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for having us. Enjoy your evening.
And you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.